Well, thank you very much, Amelia, for being here today. Thank you for being in my podcast. Today we're going to discuss about like your background, your past experiences, and your career journey to explain people how career coaching can be quite significant when we're looking for a specific job. And I would say, well, I'm really glad that you made it. I think you've been staying in Paris for 2 years now.
2 years and a half, approximately.
Yeah. And how do you feel about that? Like living in a new country, a new culture, of course, by yourself.
Yes. Thank you so much for the invitation to be part of this podcast. I'm super happy to be here sharing again with you. Living in Paris has been like a super nice experience. Living abroad also comes with challenges, but I think that's the beauty of this experience of living abroad and building a life here.
Definitely. And so you were born and raised in Colombia.
Yeah.
You've been working for 5 or 6 years, I think, in the same company. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you did?
Yes. So basically, yes, as you said, I grew up in Colombia and I did my bachelor in industrial engineering. So something that it's really, let's say, technical and like focus on the industry. Back then, I took a class of fashion history, and that's when I fell in love with this industry. But I didn't know how to combine both of them until one day someone published through Facebook that there was an opportunity for someone like focus on business and industry that love fashion. And I said, okay, this is for me. So I got this job. It's a multi-brand retail company that is from Chile, that also has like stores in Colombia and in Peru. And I worked there for 5 years as a fashion buyer and brand manager for a private owned labels.
And can you tell us what is the work of a fashion buyer, like in terms of role, the objectives, and maybe the daily tasks?
Yes, so basically you as a fashion buyer and a brand manager, you own the brand. And as you own the brand, you have to coordinate between many teams of the company, from visual merchandising to marketing, and also with the teams that produce the products. So you have to have like a 360 focus around what the brand is. So you have to build the budget, you have to build the collection with the corporate team. So you're in showrooms and you have like the color palette. You have what is the focus of this collection. And after that, you have to sit down in your computer and say like, okay, now with my budget, what I'm going to buy, knowing for the past campaigns and collections, what is your winning items, what is a loser. And so you focus on that and you say like, maybe I'm going to buy a little bit more of this and less of this. And after that, when you build your budget, you have to do the negotiation with the suppliers to say like, okay, we need this objective, I need this to have my margin. So you do all of this, and then you have to ensure that everything arrives to your store, that everything is displayed as you thought when you were in the showroom, and say like, this was my collection. When I arrive to the store, I'm seeing it, yes, no. So basically that was my daily basis, speaking with several teams.
That's so interesting because it's like a 360-degree vision of a fashion brand. So you have like the first part of identifying the right suppliers, the right product to build a very significant collection that will match with the customer's expectations. And then you have to set up everything for the products to arrive in the boutiques. And I would say, like, how do you make your decision about identifying the right products? Do you have like some market surveys, benchmark, or do you just go with the flow? It's like, this is the product we're going to sell. So how is the perfect, I would say, analysis when it comes to developing your own lines? The lines of the companies, of course.
Yes, I think there's several elements. One is the intuition of the buyer that you develop. It's not something that comes right away the first time that you enter as a fashion buyer. It's something that you start to develop as you start to understand your brand. Okay. And you start to feel like this color sells better than this other color. This fit is better for this target of public than this one. So that's something that you start to develop. And at the same time, you start to do analysis of bestsellers and low sellers. So I think it's both like a technical skill and also something that you gain while you're like in your daily basis.
Sure. And what did you like the most about this experience?
I think I really enjoy like building the collections and like touching the products. I was really near to the product, and that's something that I really like. And also the contact with different cultures. I was working with Chile, with Peru, also with the vendors in international vendors, and also with the national vendors. So it was like all the time I was like speaking even in English, in Spanish, and it was
Like a very multicultural environment.
Yeah.
So I guess like this is something that you studied from the past, and now you're still like living in international experiences. You being from Colombia, now working in Paris. So my next question will be, what made you decide to leave your country, like with a significant role, with of course a lot of responsibilities? So why did you decide to leave your country to come here?
Yes, that's a really nice question. So there's a behind a story for it. I was in my job. I really loved my job, but I think the pandemic played a really huge role in it. And I decided to quit my job without any plan. So I quit it and I took a sabbatical year, a risk that I think it was risky at its time. But I said to myself, I'm 30 years old. Let's do it. It's the moment. So I took a trip around Europe for 2 months. And in that moment, I was here in Paris and I went to exhibitions of fashion. And in that moment, I said, like, I really love this. I really need to search something that, again, mixes my career with fashion. So I went back to Colombia and I started to search different universities around the world that were like giving programs related to fashion and with business. And I found it at the university here in Paris that said to me, we have this program that mixes perfectly. So that's when I said, like, okay, I'm going to come to
I'm
Paris.
gonna jump
Yes.
into the unknown.
Yes. So that's how I arrived here, and I said, like, I want to focus my master in something that I really like and that focus again my passion for fashion.
And this is exactly how we met. Actually, he was a student in at IESEG, School of Management in Paris, and you were like one of my students in the employability program. So of course, when you are pursuing studies in fashion and management, you have the academic courses for you to get further knowledge about the industry you're going to deep dive in. And there is the other part of you building a strong professional plan with career courses, coaching sessions to make sure that your past experiences can be related to your new personal and professional aspirations. And so I will probably ask you what were the most important thing for you to get from the career courses at IESEG?
Yes, I really enjoyed this program because once again, it gives you like a 360-degree vision of the industry. You get like business related topics, and at the same time you have like the fashion topics, and you see how they mix, and you see from fashion buying topics to how a runways works, and you get to get a little bit of every single thing that you can like. I didn't imagine that there were like many possibilities of jobs in this industry. I was super focused before in product, but then I discovered new topics that you can work on, and that's the thing that I really enjoyed during this master.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember during coaching sessions, we work on how to showcase the skills you developed in the past and how to identify the right role that would be aligned with your new aspirations. Can you maybe tell us a little bit more about the tools we worked on and what was the main challenge for you to understand the French market requirements for the luxury and fashion industry?
Yes, I would say one of the biggest things that we work on was redesigning my CV. Although I had experience and I could feel like a CV with a lot of information, I think like there's cultural differences when it comes to what you can put in a CV in Colombia and what you put here in France. And it's mainly because in Colombia, it doesn't matter. You can put 2 pages. You don't have to put a photo. You can put a lot of colors. And here in France, you have to understand that culturally, it's you have to have 1 page and to be capable of summarize your back experience in just 1 page to put a photo and to tell everything just in one first impression.
Yes, you're right. Regarding the colors that you use, the way you express your past experiences and the skills, and what is really important is that any country, any culture expressed in a specific way. And this is something we worked on for the resume to be aligned with the French market expectations. But there is also something else because you worked for a company that is well known in your country. You had like a significant background. You were already working on a management role. I would say I think it was like brand manager, right?
Yep.
And I would say that one of the main challenge was also to make this experience valuable in this market. So do you remember what were maybe the tricks or the things that you worked on to make sure that this experience will be valuable for the French market?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest advice also that you gave me in that moment is even if I had like this significant experience back then, no one, as you said, like no one knew here about this company that I work in. So it was like I had two paths to go. One could be like start searching for an internship, back again at 32 years old, being an intern, or go to search a job. And you gave me a good advice, and it was like start by an internship. Because this is your entry ticket to the French market. This is where you can show your skills that even if you're going to be an intern again, you're going to be able to show that you're already there and you have the skills that you gained in the past. So I think that was one of the biggest things that we work on. And the second was like starting to read what the job offer said, and to say like, okay, they're asking for this. From my back experience, what can I take to put it like to highlight in my CV?
Yeah.
So I think those two things were the
Yes,
significant
exactly.
things.
Yeah, thank you very much for pointing this out because sometimes we do forget that we're applying for a specific role, and especially like students when they have to start their first experiences to get into the corporate world. And matching your past experiences with the job offer requirements is one of the key to be identified by the company. And so what did you discover about yourself? Because we're talking about the tools and how we need to understand the new culture. But of course, it's like, I would say it's like a personal development process, right? Where you have to deep dive into who you are, what you like, what you dislike, what you want to do, and maybe what you don't want to do as well. So what is the main thing you learned from yourself during this coaching experience?
I think one of the things that we also discussed was that I was skills that I didn't recognize in myself, because sometimes I think when we are like looking into us, sometimes we need someone else to tell us like, but I think you have done this, and this. I think you have this skill, and I think you remark something that it's that I'm really adaptable to things. And I started to look at my CV, and I said to myself, yes, I think I adapt super fast. Back then, when I was working in Colombia, I had a change of positions in short times, and I was able to develop like this skill of being adaptable. And just by coming here to France again, living in a different country with a different language that I was starting to learn, was also an adaptability topic. And also back then when we looked at my French level, even though if I was like giving like phrases and being able to speak about it, you said to me like, you can take this as an advantage to show that you're a fast learner. So I said to myself, yeah, I think I need to give a little bit more of credit to what I know of French, even if it's not that much. Yeah, I can take advantage of this and show in an interview that I'm a fast learner. So
Definitely. And talking about like adaptation and you understanding the different skill set you can further develop, even when the one you already have. I think now you're working on a job that is quite different, or are you still working as a fashion buyer?
no, I'm working still for the industry of fashion, but now focus on the luxury. And I work as a project manager, which is it has similar skills, but it's a different topic. And I work for operations, so I'm not that near to the product anymore. I'm near to projects. So that's kind of like the difference that I have now.
Yeah. And what are your daily tasks?
So as a project manager in the industry of luxury, you have to coordinate between different teams for you to be able to guarantee a smoothly progress of projects, to get on time to what you set as deliverables and tasks. And you have to be a manager, because you need to lead and say, okay, we need to do this. How do we get here? Which with teams I need to speak. So I think those are like my mainly basis tasks. I need to go through timelines and to ensure that everything is working perfect to arrive on time.
And according to you, what are the most important skills to have to perform in this role?
I think, well, one, you have to be a little bit managerial, but when I say managerial, it's leading. It's to have good communication skills, because you will be speaking with different teams that work in different aspects of the business, and you need to be diplomatic. You need to know how to deliver your message depending on the team that you're working with, because no one's like different teams work with different languages. Even no matter the company, you will see if you work with this or this, it's going to be different. So I think managerial communication, you need to have high adaptability, because it's an industry that it's always changing. Always there's something happening. So you need to be able to adapt fast by not disrupting the operation. And I would say those are like the main skills that you need to have for a role of project management.
And what are the biggest challenges you have to face working for the first time in Paris in the luxury industry while not speaking French? What was maybe the any challenge you faced, and how did you overcome it first?
I think yes. I think the biggest challenge for me working, even if I was an intern, I think yes, I already got the skills back then in my past experiences, but it was working in itself in French.
So you had to work in French and not like on a daily basis in English.
Yeah,
even like they knew that you were like from Colombia.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So my daily basis job was in French. I was going to some meetings where I was sometimes not understanding everything, but that was the way to get out of my comfort zone and say, I need to learn French, because it's the way to get into this. During my one-to-ones back then, I remember that I was like, I don't feel really well with French. And my manager said, like, we can change to English if you want. And I said, like, no, I want to stay in French.
Wow.
Because that's the way to really go out of my comfort zone. Sure. Even if back then was hard and I was arriving home like with a headache, it was worth it.
And now, here again, it shows that you mentioned that your main skills were like adaptation and fast learning. And those are the two skills that enable you to perform in a French luxury company in Paris. And how would you define your level? Like, how would you assess yourself in terms of French levels? Do you feel like comfortable, fluent, bilingual, maybe?
I feel fluent, super well.
And you've been working for what, like a year yet? Already?
Yeah, almost for a year. I have been working in French. And I assess myself, and sometimes I'm like, no, I have done this progress. I know that I can deliver messages and people understands me. But I also really enjoy when people have not seen me in a while and they see me speaking French and they're like, wow, you have made a lot of progress. And even if I sometimes don't have exact the word, I make myself, I don't know how to people to understand me. And I would say that right now I'm fluent. I don't arrive home with a headache, and I can stay in meetings understanding what is going on. But yeah, it was the biggest challenge.
That's really impressive. And just for the joke, now you can go to the boulangerie and be like, can I have a croissant?
Exactly. A pain au chocolat.
Pain au chocolat. And you know, there is another way. There is like chocolatine. Do you know chocolatine? But there's like, you know, a fight between like chocolat and chocolatine. But let's just like focus on pain au chocolat and the croissant. But yeah, that's really amazing and that's impressive. I remember when we discussed to organize this podcast, I was like, okay, I have to talk in English because, I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, I think at some point you switch it and you talk in French. And then I was like, wow, okay, her level is just, and I say, yeah, but bonne soirée, au revoir. And oh, okay. I was like, maybe I'm going to do the podcast in French. But yeah, like that's just amazing. That's congratulations again. Because I remember when we started working at IESEG, of course, like in international business schools, everything is in English. Well, I would say like the master program, because you're trying to be global leaders for global companies. But yeah, that's really, really impressive. So you know that, of course, people watching us and they probably interested in the same field, the same role. So what advice would you give students who first want to work in this industry and second on the role you are having today?
Yeah, one thing that I would say, don't get frustrated at the beginning if you send CVs and you don't get an answer, because it's an industry that I think everyone wants to be in this industry, especially here in France. So keep going. Don't lose the force. I remember back then when I was searching for my internship, I sent a lot of CVs and I kept going until one of those like started the process. So I think don't lose hope. I think you will find your job, and that's one of the advices that I would say. Second, be curious, because this industry has a big spectrum, a scope of what they can of jobs that you cannot ever imagine. Read, sometimes the title means something, but then when you read what it offers, it's something that it's not related that much with the name, and it could be something that appeals to you. So that would be another topic. Third, I think this industry works a lot with emotion and with storytelling. So prepare yourself for the interviews. If one brand calls you, do a little bit of research of the brand. Where were the key points? Relate yourself to the brand. What do you feel when you listen to this brand? The emotion that you feel for you to tell. And also, if a brand contacts you before going to the interview, assure yourself to go to the boutique.
Sure.
You need to go. It's something that it's
Definitely.
really appreciated, and I think they will ask you this in the interview, especially if you're gonna work with retail. Go, live the experience, see what they offer, connect with the brand.
Sure.
So that would be another advice that I would give. And the final advice, be humble, stay humble. I think this is an industry that appreciates this a lot. I think everyone imagines this the fashion industry and the luxury industry a little bit like what we see in the movie The Devil's First Prada.
Exactly.
And I don't think it's like that. Stay humble. Be open to what your manager has to say. Accept feedback. Give feedback. And I think those are the key facts that will make you succeed in this industry.
Thank you very much, Amelia, for sharing your professional journey with us. I'm sure we inspire a lot of people, as the podcast will be called Inspired Journeys. And I'm really glad to see you again, because I think it's been a while, like 2 years, maybe. And yes, congratulations again.
Thank you so much for the invitation to be here today, Janice.
Great. Thank you, Amelia.